Beloved child, you are not a wandering soul waiting for a random opportunity to appear. I have placed you within an intentional order, a plan already in motion, and you are a living part of it. You are not standing on the margins of the story, you are inside the story I am writing. And when you begin to realize this, you will see everything around you gradually change, not because your circumstances immediately become different, but because you know where you are going and why you were sent. We are His workmanship, created for good works, which God prepared beforehand, Ephesians 2:10. You do not need to search for purpose in a faraway place. It has already been placed within you from the beginning. When you walk with the purpose that comes from me, you will realize one thing: the things that once dimmed you, once caused you to lose direction, will gradually lose their power, not because they disappear completely, but because they can no longer control you. Purpose is the wind that scatters stagnation, the light that exposes deception, the true calling that causes false voices to fall silent. I do not need you to become important according to the standards of the world. I need you to be faithful. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Faithfulness is not noisy, but it is steadfast. And it is that very steadfastness that makes your life become a foundation not easily shaken. Understand this clearly. My child, your strength does not lie in your stature or your position, but in the direction in which you are walking. A small candle, if placed in the right place, can drive back the darkness of an entire room. In the same way, a soul living according to true purpose will create an influence far beyond what you can measure. I did not create you to live according to the expectations of others, nor to chase after the world's definitions of success. I created you to live according to the design I have ordained. I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. When you step out of the need to please people and step into obedience to me, you will feel a different strength, not from personal effort, but from connection with the source of life. You will no longer strive merely to achieve success, because you will recognize that true success is living fully in what I have entrusted to you. And when you live this way, the words that once made you doubt, the thoughts that once pulled you down, will gradually lose their weight. The righteous man walks in his integrity. Proverbs 20:7. Integrity is not only something you believe, it is the way you walk each day. Beloved child, every choice you make in true purpose has value. When you choose forgiveness instead of holding on to bitterness, you are re-establishing the order of light. When you choose to speak the truth even when it costs you, you are making a way for truth to stand firm. When you choose to love those who are difficult to love, you are reflecting my nature. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. These things may seem small in your eyes, but in the unseen realm, they are steps forward that cause darkness to retreat. Do not underestimate ordinary decisions. It is consistency in small things that creates a great path. Each time you choose what is right, even in silence, you are laying a foundation stone for what I am building through you. And over time, you will find yourself standing more firmly, more clearly, no longer swept away by the uncertainty around you. The wise man built his house upon the rock, Matthew 7:24. Steadiness does not come in a single day. It is formed through every faithful choice. And then, you will realize that your very life becomes a mark. There is no need for grand declarations, no need for display simply by the way you live. You have already declared one thing: truth still remains, and light is still present. You become a pillar, not because you are never shaken, but because you know how to return to the right direction whenever you need to. So, beloved child, keep walking. You do not need to be faster than others, nor greater than others. You only need to be true to what I have placed within you. For when you live in my purpose, you are not merely existing, you are taking part in the work of restoration I am carrying out. And every step you take, however small, carries eternal meaning. Beloved child, you do not need to run in search of light in distant places, nor do you need to strive to reach something beyond your grasp. I placed that light within you before you were even aware of yourself. You were not formed by chance, nor are you the result of meaningless chains of coincidence. Every part of you, every thought, every ability, every depth within your soul was woven by me from an eternal intention. When I breathed life into you, I did not merely allow you to exist. I gave you a nature that carries light. God said, "Let there be light." And there was light, Genesis 1:3. And that light not from the sun or the stars, but from me. The one who does not change is why. When you live according to what I have placed within you, you become something darkness cannot touch. Perhaps you once doubted. Perhaps you forgot that light amid the wounds, amid the times you felt you were not enough. But my child, the light within you has never left. It may have been covered, it may have been forgotten, but it has never been extinguished. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. The layers of dust from time, from disappointment, from the times you underestimated yourself, they are only temporary coverings. They do not change the true nature within you. And with only a simple faith, a sincere return, that light will begin to burn brightly again. I knew you before you were formed, even in the secret place, when you had no shape yet. I saw you completely. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, Jeremiah 1:5. And when I called your name, I also called forth the light within you. No one can take away what I have placed in you, not those who once wounded you, not the circumstances you have passed through, not even the mistakes you have made. Those things do not destroy the light. They only become classrooms, experiences that help you understand more clearly your true value. Beloved child, it is precisely because the light within you is real, strong, and sourced in me that darkness seeks to cover it. But darkness has no authority to extinguish it. It can only make you forget. And I do not come to rebuke you for the times you forgot. I come to remind you again. When you look at yourself and see only weariness, lack, and incompleteness, I see a child anointed with eternal light. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. Not that you will become it, you already are. Perhaps you once thought that light was only for those who are perfect, those who are more worthy. But my child, I did not place light within you because you had reached some standard. I placed it within you because you belong to me. That light is not a reward, it is an inheritance. It does not come and go according to your emotions. It does not grow larger or smaller according to the days when you feel strong or weak. It is there, steadfast, inseparably, like the very bond between you and me. And when you begin to live in truth, that light will naturally be revealed, not through great things you try to create, but through your true self. When you speak the truth, when you choose what is right, when you live sincerely, the light within you becomes clearer. Walk as children of light, Ephesians 5-8. You do not need to do something grand in order to shine. You only need to live according to the nature I have placed within you. Remember Moses, the one who once felt he was not capable enough, not eloquent enough, not strong enough to carry out what I had entrusted to him. But when he stood in my presence, his face reflected light so clearly that others had to notice it. Exodus 34-29. He did not create the light himself, he simply stayed near me, So it is with you. Light is not something you must produce. It is something that flows out when you abide in me. Therefore, beloved child, do not try to become someone else. Do not search for another version of yourself in order to feel sufficient. I do not need you to become better in the way you imagine. I need you to recognize that you have always been the one I created, set apart, loved, and made to carry light. When you believe this, when you live this, the light will not only remain within you, it will guide your path and shine for those around you. Return to this simple truth: you belong to me, and my light is within you. When you live in that truth, no darkness can hold you back for long, and every step you take, however small, will become part of the light spreading outward. Not from your own striving, but from the very nature I placed within you from the beginning. Beloved child, the light I placed within you is not for you to admire privately or to feel different for your own sake, but to shine into the very places where you live. It is not by chance that you have been placed in this time, in this family, among these people. I ordained your position as a point of light among places that still lack light. And so, when you feel unlike anyone else, hard to fit in, or even out of place, do not quickly assume that something is wrong. Light cannot dissolve into darkness. It can only reveal what has been hidden. You are the light of the world, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket. Matthew 5:14-15. I did not call you to conform to dimness, but to stand present in the clarity of truth. Do not exchange your light for temporary acceptance. Human recognition may comfort you for a moment, but it does not bring life. I did not call you to blend into the crowd in order to feel safe. I called you to stand in holiness, not to be isolated, but to become a source of light for those in need, wherever you dare to live according to what I have placed within you. Darkness will begin to retreat there, not because you are striving in battle, but because light has become present. You do not need to create light by yourself. You only need to abide in me. As it is written, abide in me, and I in you, for apart from me you can do nothing. John 15:4-5. The branch does not bear fruit by itself. It bears fruit because it is connected to the vine. When you remain connected to me, light will flow through you naturally in your thoughts, in your responses, in every word you speak. There will be people near you who cannot explain why they feel lighter, comforted, and guided. It is not because you are trying to create influence, but because they are touching the true light flowing through you. The fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. Ephesians 5:9. That light is not loud, but it has the power to heal. It does not need to prove itself, yet it reveals itself. It can guide those who are confused, calm the minds of those who are troubled, and awaken hope again in those who thought they had none left. And many times, you will not even know whom you have touched. You only need to abide in me, the rest I will do. Beloved child, darkness is not afraid of your past. It is afraid of your future when you step into what is right. When you begin to remember who you are in me, when you no longer believe the lies that you are out of place, the light within you will rise. And when true light rises, what is false will retreat on its own. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Light does not need to argue in order to win. It only needs to be present. Therefore, do not be afraid to step forward. You no longer walk as someone dim and indistinct, but as one who carries an eternal mark. Every step you take is not merely a personal movement, but a living testimony. Truth still remains, and light is still alive. Walk as children of light. Ephesians 5-8. When you live according to that truth, your very life becomes the message. But my child, do not keep that light to yourself. Light was not created to be hidden. The world does not lack people who are good at concealing. It is longing for those who dare to live truthfully, speak truthfully, and kindle light in others. When you share the light, it does not diminish, it spreads. When you live sincerely, others are set free from their own falsehood. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father. Matthew 5:16. Do not fear that you are not enough. I do not wait until you are perfect before I use you. It is precisely in the places where you feel insufficient that I will make things complete. My grace is sufficient for you. 2 Corinthians 12-9. The light within you is not limited by age, circumstance, or ability. The only limitation comes when you stop believing that this light truly exists. I believe in you, not because of how much you have accomplished, but because I know what I have placed within you. And I want you to believe, me as well, to believe that this light is strong enough to lead you, clear enough to guide your path, and real enough to bring you into the place of your destiny. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to be yourself in me. And when you are in me, that light will not only remain within you, it will spread, touch others, and transform. Beloved child, when your heart becomes clear, the things that once made you waver will gradually lose their power. Not because your circumstances change immediately, but because within you there is now an anchor that no longer shifts. The enemy is not afraid of emotions that surge and then fade. It fears a person who has decided whom they belong to and what they live for. And I am building that very conviction within you. You will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is steadfast. Isaiah 26:3. It is not that you are hard or unfeeling, but that you have chosen to hold fast to what is worth holding: truth, identity, and my guidance. I do not promise that you will never be tested, but I promise that if you stand in the place where I have positioned you, you will not be defeated. Every decision to live according to your true identity is a stone laid into the fortress wall. Every word spoken from understanding is a weapon. And when you act according to the guidance of the Holy Spirit, you no longer rely on your own strength. You stand in my power, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. It is this dependence that makes you steadier than you ever imagined. When you live according to the purpose I have ordained, your influence will spread in ways you cannot measure. There is no need for noise, no need for crowds to witness it, yet it is real. One soul awakened, one heart healed, one person turning back to the light. These are the marks of your life when you walk in the right direction. Whoever refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. You do not need to be seen in order to have value. I see you, and I will cause what you carry to be revealed at the right time. Do not measure yourself by human standards. The greatest things are often born in silence, nurtured through faithfulness, and revealed when the time is ripe. You only need to walk steadily, walk sincerely, and keep your eyes fixed on me. My eyes are ever toward the Lord. Psalm 25-15. When you do your part abiding, obeying, and remaining faithful, I will do mine. I will open the way, uphold you, and amplify the influence you carry. When you live in purpose, you will recognize something wondrous. You no longer have to struggle to become right. You become aligned naturally. Hesitation gradually decreases. Confusion fades, and false callings lose their attraction. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. When your heart is directed toward me, what does not come from me will reveal itself. You do not need to argue, nor do you need to prove anything. Your presence, when rightly led, is already a declaration. Live as one who knows they are being guided. not with noisy self-confidence, but with quiet certainty. You will find that you are no longer pulled along by every emotion, nor enticed by every invitation. The Lord will guide you continually, Isaiah 58:11. And when you walk this way, darkness will find no place to cling, not because you are perfect, but because you are clear. Beloved child, purpose in me is not a burden placed upon your shoulders. It is the path that opens freedom for you. I am not demanding that you become someone else. I am freeing you to become yourself, the version I ordained. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. In the land of purpose, you are not forced. You are allowed to live truthfully, strongly, and peacefully. And when you remain in that place, light does not only shine from you, it becomes a shield of protection, the sword of truth, and a voice of authority. It does not need to be loud, yet it carries weight. It does not need to display itself, yet it is effective. The Word of God is the sword of the Spirit, Ephesians 6:17. When you live with purpose, darkness does not merely retreat, it loses its reason to remain. So, beloved child, keep your clarity, keep your conviction, keep your connection with me. Every step you take in obedience is a victory that needs no announcement. And as you persevere in this way, you will see, you are not merely overcoming, you are establishing a path for others to follow. I am with you, guiding you, and completing what I began within you. Beloved child, you do not need to prepare yourself until you are perfect before daring to return. It is precisely when you lay down the covering that I can more easily touch you and renew you. Your self-reliance, even when it comes from good intentions, sometimes only lengthens the road of restoration. I do not wait for you to become enough before receiving you. I wait for you to become honest. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. You do not need to bring a complete explanation. You only need to bring a heart that turns back. I do not ask you, why are you like this? I say to you, I know, and I still choose you. When you allow me to be the one who takes the lead, freedom will come not from straining with effort, but from gentle surrender. The things you thought had become part of you, the habits, the fears, the silent bonds will be undone layer by layer, thread by thread, not loudly, but surely. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. I do not force you to change. I touch you and make you light again, as you were in the beginning, when you were still simple, when you still knew how to trust. And when you abide in me, you will recognize an inward shift. The things that once made you tremble will no longer control you. You will no longer react according to the waves of emotion, nor be pulled by false voices. My presence will be like an unseen armor, always there. The Lord is our refuge and strength. Psalm 46:1. Darkness may still come near, but it no longer has a place to cling. For when your soul is fastened to me, you radiate a light that cannot be extinguished. Returning to me is not only rest, it is deliverance. It is not escaping reality, but being placed back into your rightful position. There are battles you have tried to win in your own strength, but only when you return do they truly come to an end. I do not require you to walk quickly. I only need you to return sincerely. Return to me, and I will return to you. Malachi 3:7. In my embrace, what is false will dissolve, and invisible chains will fall away without you needing to struggle against them. But beloved child, for the new thing to be born fully, you must take one deeper step, not only returning, but surrendering, not because I need to control you, but because, in surrender, you open the door for what I prepared long ago but could not yet pour out. Not my will, but yours. Be done. Luke 22:42. Obedience is not the loss of freedom, it is the discovery of the true path of freedom. When you say, "Let your will be done," you are placing your heart into the flow of life, where all things are arranged in their proper order. There are bonds that are not broken by effort or understanding, but are released when you trust and follow my leading. You do not need to understand everything in order to obey. You only need to know who the one is whom you trust. And when you walk this way, the old patterns, the cycles of wounds, the spirals you thought you could never escape will be stopped. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. You are not meant to be the continuation point of darkness. You can become the place where it ends. Remember the prodigal son. He did not return with a perfect presentation. He returned with a heart that realized it needed the Father. And before he could finish speaking, the Father ran out and embraced him. Luke 15:20. That is how I receive you. Without delay, without condemnation, but with restoration of your identity the moment you turn back. You do not return as a failure. You return as one who is reinstated. Therefore, beloved child, let go of your need to hold everything together. Allow your heart to soften into trust. Sigh, even if only in a whisper, "Father, please lead me." And then take one more step. Let your will be done. In those two simple prayers, you will see a door open, the door of freedom, of reestablishment, of a new beginning. I am here, not far away, not silent. I am waiting for you, not to condemn you, but to restore you. And when you abide in me and surrender, you will step out as someone made new, lighter, clearer, steadier, no longer held back by the things that once bound you tightly. For from the place where you return, I will lead you onward, not only to be healed, but to be established in the light that never goes out. Beloved child, I know there are times when you hold tightly to control, not because you are resisting me, but because you have been wounded before and are afraid that it may happen again. But my child, I am not like anyone who has ever caused you pain. My leading does not suffocate, force, or blind you. It opens, heals, and returns you to your original nature. When you obey, I do not turn you into a stranger. I restore you to the person I had in mind from the very beginning. I will give you a new heart. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my ways. Ezekiel 36:26-27. In that place, you no longer carry the burden of having to be right, but walk with the lightness of a soul that knows it has been placed where it belongs. I do not require you to be perfect before you obey. I only need you to be willing. Obedience does not begin with great deeds, but with very small nods to the whisper I place within your heart. When you choose forgiveness instead of holding on to anger, you are obeying. When you say, "I believe," even though you cannot yet see what lies ahead, you are obeying. When you choose silence before slander because you trust that truth will speak for itself, you are obeying. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and He will direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. It is in these quiet steps that you are opening a new path, not only for yourself, but also for those who will come after you. The more you obey, the more clearly you will hear my voice. And when you hear clearly, you will no longer desire any other path. Dependence on me does not make you weak. It causes you to be led in the right direction. Like a child holding the Father's hand while crossing rushing waters, that grip is not bondage, it is life. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. John 10:27. When you walk in surrender, I will unveil, piece by piece, the blueprint prepared specifically for you. You will no longer wander helplessly among many choices. because my peace will become the compass within you. The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. Beloved child, every time you obey, it is a declaration in the unseen realm. I belong to the Father. There is no need for display. No need for noise, one whispered. I choose you is enough to cause dark things to step back. Resist, and it will flee from you. James 4:7. Obedience is a gentle yet decisive refusal before every sweet temptation. It does not take away your freedom. It returns the authority to the one who knows exactly where you were created to go. And in that choice, you step out as one who opens the way for a new direction, not repeating old patterns, but unlocking what has never been seen before in your family, in your community, and in your generation. Remember the story of Abraham. When I called him to leave what was familiar and go to a land he did not know, he had no map, no guarantee in the way the world understands. Guarantees only, my word. And he went. Abraham obeyed and went out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. His obedience was not blindness, it was faith placed in the right one. And that very step opened a stream of blessing for many generations. So it is with you. Each step of obedience you take today is shaping the tomorrow of many others. From this point on, you are no longer bound by the things that once held you. You have chosen another path, the path of light, of truth, and of my gentle yet powerful guidance. You will no longer have to strain yourself in order to be right, because obedience itself is shaping you more and more into my likeness. Whoever abides in me bears much fruit. John 15:5. And then, every word you speak and every step you take will carry the echo of heaven, not because you are striving, but because you are in me, and I am in you. So, beloved child, do not be afraid of obedience. Begin with the smallest thing, a decision, a word, a dirección. I am here, holding your hand, leading you through each step, and as you walk with me, you will realize this. Obedience is not a burden, it is a grace that opens the full life I prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved child, I hear the question you are holding in your heart. If I let go, will everything fall apart? That fear is not small, because you have grown used to holding, carrying, and supporting everything by yourself. You are afraid that if you loosen your grip, the people you love will leave. Your plans will collapse, and your dreams will dissolve like mist. But my child, listen to me slowly and deeply. You are not the one who keeps everything running. That is my work. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. The things you have placed in my hands, your future, your relationships, your promises are being kept more securely than any way you could ever keep them yourself. I did not create you to carry the weight of the whole world, but to lean on me and walk lightly in my care. When you try to hold everything tightly, you become exhausted. When you learn to entrust it to me, you are upheld. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. You do not need to become the guardian of everything. I already am the guardian. Little one, let your heart breathe out again. Do not suppress the emotions rising within you. I am not afraid of your weakness. On the contrary, I touch you most clearly when you dare to admit that you are not enough. When you keep straining, you remain at the edge of grace. When you say, Father, please help me, you step into the center of my intervention. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. I am not sitting far away, watching you try. I am right beside you. Whether you feel it or not, you do not need to prove anything in order to be loved by me. My love is not born from achievement, nor does it rise and fall according to the results you attain. It stands firm before, during, and after every season of your life. Therefore, you can let go without fearing that you will be abandoned. The world teaches you to control, to prepare for every risk, to calculate every step, to hold everything tightly in your hands. But I teach you to trust, not as a form of giving up, but as placing the right burden in the right place. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Being still does not mean being motionless. It is the posture of a heart that knows who is at the helm. There are days when everything slows down and you fear that you are falling behind. But my child, sometimes I am protecting you from turns whose consequences you cannot yet see. There are doors that close, and you begin to doubt yourself. But sometimes I am the one who closes them to keep you from what does not belong to you. A person's heart plans their way, but the Lord directs their steps, Proverbs 16:9. You cannot see the whole picture, but I can. Remember the story of Abraham when I asked him to offer Isaac the most precious thing he had. It was not a test meant to take away from him, but to teach him to trust me more than what he held. And when he let go, I provided at the right time, in the right way. The Lord will provide, Genesis 22:14. So it is with you. What you entrust to me is not lost. It is placed into my provision. So, beloved child, learn to let go piece by piece, day by day. You do not need to release everything all at once. Simply say, Father, I entrust this to you. Then keep walking a little lighter, a little more trusting. As you do this, you will recognize something wondrous. What truly belongs to you will be kept. What does not belong to you will leave on its own, not as loss, but as liberation. I am writing your story not hurriedly, not mistakenly, even though you cannot yet see the whole picture. Every stroke of my hand remains certain. And when you trust, you will not merely pass through, you will be led. The Lord will guide you continually, Isaiah 58:11. Therefore, let go not into empty space, but into me, and you will see what you feared would collapse, when held in me, will be made secure, and what needs to depart will depart in peace. You are not alone. I am holding, I am leading, and I will complete what I have begun in you. Beloved child, stop carrying the work of the Creator when I have only invited you to live fully in the place of a child. Your part is not to control everything, not to keep every plan from falling apart, nor to become the one who takes care of it all. Your part is to abide, to listen, and to trust. Abide in me, and I in you, John 15:4. When you abide, you are not passive. You are connected to the source of life. And where you cannot, I still can. I am not angry with you when you are weak. My heart aches when you keep trying to appear strong, because it is precisely where you let go that I begin. It is precisely where you stop that I act. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. That stillness is not avoidance. It is trust. You will realize that I have never been late, not early, according to your desire, but always right, according to my perfect timing. I see the struggle within you between the desire to believe and the fear of letting go, between knowing that I love you and wondering whether that love is truly meant for you. Do not be ashamed of that. It is that very honesty that draws me nearer to you. I am not looking for beautiful prayers. I am looking for a heart that opens the door. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34:18. Even a trembling whisper is enough, because my love does not require performance. It only welcomes truth. My child, when you sleep, I am still watching over you. When you are confused, I remain steady. When you weep, I count every tear. You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56-8. Not one emotion of yours is overlooked by me. I am not unfamiliar with pain. I entered into the very fragility of human life. And because I know, I sympathize. Because I understand, I intervene not with cold power, but with healing nearness. Do not look only at what has been lost. Look at what still remains. I am still here. My hand has never been withdrawn. You are still called my child, not because you are always right, but because I have not changed the way I see you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43-1. Your identity is not erased by mistakes. It is held by love that cannot be shaken. The peace I give is not like what the world gives. It does not depend on everything going smoothly, nor does it disappear when circumstances change. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives. John 14:27. That peace is a reality. I am with you. When the world shifts, when people's hearts change, when your emotions rise and fall, I remain who I am. The Lord does not change. Malachi 3-6. I keep my promise. I hold you close, and I call you by the name only I know. So, beloved child, return to me what does not belong to you, the anxiety of needing to control, the burden of needing to guarantee, the pressure of having to make everything right. Hold on to what I have entrusted to you to abide, to listen, and to trust. And even when you only have enough strength to say one sentence, Father, I am here. I was already there before you, arms open, sustaining you and leading you onward in peace that never runs dry. Beloved child, there are seasons in your life when everything seems so quiet that you think nothing is happening. But I tell you that it is precisely in that stillness that I am doing the deepest work. You often wait for clear signs, for changes you can see immediately in order to strengthen your faith. But my ways do not operate according to human impatience. As it is written, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Isaiah 55:8. Therefore, you must learn to trust even when your eyes have not yet seen, your ears have not yet heard, and your heart still carries many questions that remain unanswered. It is in those silences that seem meaningless that I am quietly restructuring your soul, touching depths that even you have never dared to face. You often measure your progress by great results, but I look at the small movements you easily overlook. When you begin to feel lighter in the place that once felt heavy, when you can take a deep breath without being suffocated by anxiety, when you stand before something that once exhausted you and now can pass through it with a strange calm, that is not coincidence, but the mark of my hand working within you. As it is written, who has despised the day of small things? Zechariah 4:10. Do not look down on small beginnings, because from those very things I am planting the seeds of a harvest you cannot yet fully imagine. I am not building you to shine for a moment and then fade. I am forming within you a firm foundation, so that when you rise, you will stand securely, and nothing will be able to shake you. Understand this, my child. You do not need to see the whole picture in order to know that I am painting it. There are deep changes that do not come with noise, but come like the morning light, slipping through the night without making a sound. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. My light is quietly spreading within you, driving back the dark places you once thought were permanent. You may not recognize it immediately, but layer by layer, heaviness is being lifted, invisible chains are being undone, and every breath you take is becoming lighter, deeper, and more peaceful. This is how I begin, not loudly, not with display, but surely and irresistibly. I remember the story of the prophet Elijah. When he hid in the cave and waited for my presence, a great wind tore through the mountains, an earthquake shook the ground, and then fire burned fiercely, but I was not in those loud things. After all of it, I came in a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19, 11, 12. Do you see? My child, I do not always reveal myself through things that shake the world. I choose to draw near to you in silence, where your heart can truly listen. And like Elijah, you must learn to recognize me, not only through signs that are dramatic, but through the gentle peace that is slowly filling your soul. Perhaps you have grown used to straining just to survive, used to carrying burdens on your shoulders that you believed you had to handle alone. But I am inviting you into another way of living. When I begin to renew you, you will not first perceive it through spectacular miracles, but through a subtle shift. The things that once made you feel breathless no longer grip you so tightly. The memories that once pulled you backward gradually lose their strength, and the thoughts that once exhausted you begin to grow quieter. As it is written, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11, 28. That promise is not a distant theory. It is being fulfilled within you little by little, day by day, even when you do not yet recognize it fully. And when night falls, when all the sounds of the world become still, that is not the moment I move away from you. It is the moment I begin an even newer work within you. In that stillness, I am touching your emotions, realigning distorted thoughts, and healing the parts you have hidden for too long. You may not hear my voice with your ears, but you will sense me through the peace that spreads within you, through the relief you cannot explain, through a quiet yet enduring hope beginning to rise. This is the journey of rebirth into which I am leading you, a journey that needs no display, yet carries within it the power of complete transformation. Therefore, do not lose heart when you have not yet seen clear results, and do not doubt when everything still appears the same on the surface. I do not work in haste, but neither am I ever delayed. What I am doing within you is a holy process, slow, yet certain, hidden, yet full of power. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that everything has changed, not in one explosive moment, but through thousands of small movements I quietly carried out within you. Then you will understand that I was never standing still, never silent, and never leaving you behind. I was always there, quietly, patiently, and full of love, leading you step by step into the new life I had prepared for you from the beginning. Beloved child, do not let the slow rhythm of the journey cause your heart to waver. For things of true value are never rushed, yet they are still brought to completion. I am working within you in a way that time cannot measure and depth cannot be seen by ordinary eyes. You are like a piece of ground being tended by me, where the seeds that have been sown do not need to ask when they will rise. They only need to remain in trust. As it is written, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. All by itself the soil produces grain. Mark 4, 27, 28. You do not need to understand the entire process. You only need to trust that I am nourishing you with light, with life, and with love that never runs dry. I am that light, the unfading radiance, the uninterrupted source of life, and wherever I am present, life will surely grow. Therefore, whenever a gentler emotion rises within you, a clearer thought appears, or a decision brings peace to your heart instead of confusion, do not regard it as something ordinary. It is a sign that your roots are quietly growing deeper into the foundation I am establishing. And as it is written, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. He will be like a tree planted by the water, whose roots reach down to the stream Jeremiah 17:7-8. You are becoming that very image, a life not shaken by circumstances. Because your source of life no longer depends on the surface, but comes from the hidden depth I am preserving. When the roots are deep, you will not need to worry about the season of fruit. For sweet fruit will come not early, according to your impatience, nor late according to your fear, but at the perfect time I have appointed. Remember that I did not create you to seek recognition from the world. What I am doing within you is not meant to be displayed before the eyes of others, but to prepare you for greater things you have not yet seen. As it is written, you have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Matthew 25:21. The quiet transformation of today is the foundation for the responsibility and influence of tomorrow. I am not preparing you for a single moment, but for a long journey, not only for today, but for the seasons that are coming. What I am sowing in your heart now, peace, wisdom, patience, will become shade for others in the future, for those who will find comfort and guidance through your very life. Do you know that the greatest things often begin in very small moments? A faint ray of light in the darkness is enough to change the direction of an entire journey. And in the very moment when you stop, listen, and recognize that I am present, something new has already begun. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. That recognition does not come from noise, but from deep stillness, where you no longer try to control everything, but simply remain with me. It is the moment you realize that you are no longer walking alone, that every step of yours is accompanied, guided, and kept by me. I remember the story of Joseph, who was given great dreams while he was still young, yet had to pass through long years of misunderstanding, being sold into slavery, and imprisonment before he saw the promise fulfilled. Nothing in his journey happened quickly or easily, but every step, whether in darkness or in light, was part of my preparation. And when the time came, he was not only lifted up, but also became a source of rescue for many people in a time of famine. So it is with you. What you are going through is not meaningless delay, but the process by which I am deepening your roots, enlarging your heart, and strengthening your foundation so you can stand firm when your season comes. You desire to see everything clearly, but I am teaching you something deeper, how to trust even when you cannot yet see. For true faith is not believing only when everything has appeared, but believing while everything is still hidden. As it is written, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. And in that walk, you are being transformed, not only in your soul, but in every detail of your daily life. I do not touch only the great things. I am also present in what is very ordinary, in the way you think, the way you respond, and the way you choose each day. In the coming days, you will begin to recognize that my presence is not only found in sacred moments, but also in every familiar rhythm of life. An unexpected conversation, a decision that seems simple, a door opening at the right time. All of these can become places where I reveal myself. I do not need loud miracles to prove that I am working. I choose gentle miracles, woven naturally into your life, so quietly that you can only recognize them when your heart is still enough to perceive. So keep listening, my child. Do not let the noise of the world drown out my whisper. Do not stop simply because you have not yet seen the destination. Keep walking, even in small steps, because each one is bringing you closer to what I have prepared. And in every step, you will gradually recognize a deep truth. I am not only waiting for you at the end of the journey, I am walking with you in every moment. As long as you continue to listen, trust, and move forward, you will never be lost. Beloved child, There are stories in the journey of faith that the world rarely mentions. Yet, to me, they carry the weight of an entire turning point. There was a man named Ananias, not a leader, not someone prominent in the crowd, but simply a soul, willing to listen and obey. When I called, he did not understand everything, and he even had reason to be afraid. Yet he still responded, and in that simple response, he laid hands on Saul, the one later known as Paul, so that his eyes would be opened. Not only physically, but also spiritually. Do you see? An action that seemed small, an obedience that was not loud, became the doorway to a mission that would spread to many nations. As it is written, "Go, for this man is my chosen instrument." Acts 9:15. I do not need perfect people. I need willing hearts that can say yes at the exact moment I have appointed. So, my child, do not seek greatness according to the way the world defines it. For I often begin great things in the humblest places. When you sit quietly and your heart grows gentle, when you choose to forgive even though no one witnesses it, when you take the hand of someone who is falling, these are not ordinary moments, but places where I am working my power. As it is written, "He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much." Luke 16:10. It is faithfulness in the things few people see that is preparing you for the things many will one day recognize. I work in the secret place, where there is no applause, because there your heart is not mixed with the pursuit of glory for yourself, but is fully open to my leading. There are tears you have shed that no one saw, but I counted every one. There are prayers you whispered in the darkness that no one heard, but I remembered every word. And there are gestures of love you gave that were not returned. Yet I used those very things to weave something new in your life and in the lives of others. As it is written, "Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle." Ecclesiastes 11:6. You do not know which seed will sprout, but I know, and I am causing all things to work together for good, not only for you, but for many people you have never even thought of. Look at the principle I placed within creation, a tiny mustard seed, almost unnoticed. Yet when it is sown, it grows into a tree where the birds of the air can come and find shelter. As it is written, "The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. When it grows, it becomes greater than all the garden plants." Matthew 13:31-32. This is also taking place within you. A decision to love today. A right action taken in silence. A choice not to follow negative emotions. All of these are seeds being sown. And when the time comes, you will see that they do not bear fruit for you alone, but also become shelter, comfort, and guidance for many others. You often think your value is only established when you do something great. But I tell you that your value is revealed most clearly in the way you live each day. When you refuse to speak words that wound, when you choose silence instead of arguing, when you send a simple word of encouragement, these things are not small. As it is written, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." Proverbs 15:1. Every word you choose to speak, every response you choose to restrain, is changing the atmosphere around you. You are becoming an instrument of peace, of grace, and of light, even in the most ordinary circumstances. Understand this. My child, you do not need to wait until you accomplish something great in order to know that your life has meaning. Every time you live in love, you open a door for my presence to enter this world. Every time you are faithful, you establish a foundation that I will use to build things far beyond your imagination. And even though you cannot see all that is being opened, I see everything. I see directions being redirected, connections being formed, and doors gradually beginning to open, all starting from the moments you once thought were small. So do not take an ordinary day lightly. Do not think that what you do today is insignificant simply because it is not noticed. In my eyes, no moment is ordinary when it is lived in faith, in love, and in obedience. And there will come a time when you look back on your journey and realize that it was those quiet moments that turned your whole life around. Not through one loud event, but through thousands of small choices you offered to me, one choice at a time. One day at a time, until they joined together into a story that only I could write completely. Beloved child, do not think that my work stops only at thoughts or deep hidden emotions, for I am touching your entire being, both the soul and the body you carry. You are not merely an abstract idea, but a living creation, where every breath and every movement carries sacred meaning. As it is written, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? 1 Corinthians 6:19. Therefore, I do not overlook your body. I choose that very place as where the renewal I am doing will be expressed. What you once considered weak and fragile is precisely where I begin to build true strength, not the strength of straining, but the strength upheld from within. You may not yet realize it, but when I touch your soul, the first changes are often reflected through your body. When your heart is soothed, your breathing becomes gentler. When fear dissolves, your shoulders no longer feel as heavy as before. When peace begins to take root, your steps are no longer rushed or unsteady. As it is written, a joyful heart makes a cheerful face, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Proverbs 15:13. Your body always responds honestly to the hidden condition of your inner being. And so, I am not only healing the things you think, I am also restoring the way you stand, the way you breathe, and the way you walk, so that your whole being may come into harmony with the new life I am giving you. I am the one who created every beat of your heart, every stream of blood flowing within you, every cell quietly working without ceasing. But I did not create them merely to exist according to natural laws. I created them to respond to my presence. When my light touches you, your body also learns to respond, even when you are not always fully aware of it. It may be only a moment when you breathe more deeply, a time when you stand upright after thinking you had no strength left, or a feeling of relief spreading through you that you cannot explain. That is not coincidence. As it is written, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. I am breathing life into the places within you that seem depleted. I see clearly the times when your body bends beneath the pressure of life. I recognize every heavy breath you try to hide, every weariness you have grown accustomed to carrying alone. But do not forget, my child, I am not only the one who sees, I am the one who intervenes. I am realigning you from within, so that you may not only feel lighter, but also rise with a new understanding. You are loved, kept, and upheld. As it is written, the Lord upholds all who fall and raises up all who are bowed down. Psalm 145:14. Gradually, you will realize that the change is not only in your heart, but also in your posture, in your eyes, and in the way you are present in the world. Understand this: your body is not separate from your soul, but part of the symphony I am tuning note by note. When your soul is healed, your body also begins to enter harmony. You will find that you are no longer swept into the hurried rhythm of life as before, nor held back by fear or prolonged exhaustion. Instead, you will walk in a new rhythm, a rhythm that does not come from pressure, but from trust. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. It is in that stillness that you learn to live, neither so quickly that you lose yourself, nor so slowly that you are left behind. I remember the story of the woman who had suffered from the flow of blood for many years. She had endured in her body for 12 long years, worn down both physically and in hope, but with only one touch of the Lord's garment, power flowed out and healed her immediately. Mark 5:25-34. Do you see? Healing is not merely an idea within the soul, it touches the body and transforms the living reality of a human being. And the wonder is that this act began with a very simple faith, a very small decision, daring to draw near and touch. So it is with you. Every step you take toward me, every time you open your heart, create space for my life to spread not only through your mind, but through your whole body as well. Therefore, my child, do not take lightly the subtle changes within your own body. When you feel lighter, when you walk more steadily, when you are no longer swept into tension as before, these are signs that I am working. I am not only renewing the way you think, I am renewing the way you live, the way you exist, and the way you are present in every moment. And in all these things, I am leading you into a fuller life where soul and body are no longer separated, but together reflect my glory. Walk in that rhythm. Beloved child, the rhythm of faith, not hurried, not stagnant, but in the right time and in the right direction. When you live in that rhythm, you will no longer feel as though you are trying to keep up with life, but will realize that you are being led by me, one step at a time, and in each step, you will see that the miracle is not far away. It is present within you, in every breath, every movement, every moment you remain and walk with me. There are times when you think you are exhausted because you have done too much, but more deeply, you are tired because you have been living out of alignment with the rhythm of life I placed within you from the beginning. When you try to prove your worth through constant busyness, your body will speak not to oppose you, but to remind you to return. As it is written, cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. Psalm 55:22. You are not called to carry everything on your shoulders. A body living in peace does not need to prove anything, because it is already in its rightful place, guided, upheld, and kept. When you enter that understanding, you will no longer force yourself to run faster, but will learn to walk in the rhythm. I have appointed a rhythm that does not exhaust you, but makes you steady. I want you to begin seeing your body through the eyes with which I have always seen you, not as a burden to endure, but as a sacred place worthy of honor and care. When you are gentle with yourself, you open a space for my life to flow more freely within you. And in that gentleness, you will gradually understand that fruitfulness does not come from doing a great deal, but from living rightly in the right role, at the right time, under the right guidance. As it is written, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Therefore, you do not need to force your way forward in order to keep up with anything. You only need to walk in the timing I have appointed for you. Remember Naaman, a man of high position who carried within his body an illness no one could heal. When he was told to go down to the Jordan River and dip himself 7 times, he felt that it was too simple, too lowly for his status. But it was precisely in that simplicity and humility that the miracle happened. When he obeyed, his body was restored, and his heart was renewed as well. 2 Kings 5:10-14. Do you see? Healing does not come from doing something great in human eyes, but from being willing to step into small actions with trust. And when you choose to listen to the needs of your body, when you allow yourself to rest without guilt, when you treat yourself with kindness, these are your own steps down into the river. I am teaching you a new way of living. Beloved child, a way of life, not driven by fear or comparison, but guided by peace from within. As you learn to live in that rhythm, you will realize that you do not need to do too much in order to be valuable. You only need to be present, to listen, and to respond. And in each action that seems small, one time you rest at the right moment. One time you breathe deeply and return to yourself. One time you choose to be kind to your body. I am working, restoring, and rebuilding you. Therefore, do not take those moments lightly. They are not useless slowing down, but the foundation for a deeper renewal. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will see that your body is no longer merely a place that carries exhaustion, but becomes a place that reflects life, a life nourished by me, preserved by me, and guided into the wholeness I appointed for you from the beginning. When you stop chasing after pleasing everyone, your soul will begin to breathe again. For a life that continually bows before human expectations will gradually forget the call of heaven. You were not created to live as the shadow of the crowd, nor were you made to decorate someone else's dream. I created you with a design of your own, a portion of land of your own, a stream of grace of your own. We are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand for us to walk in. Ephesians 2:10. There are doors I do not open for you because they do not belong to you. There are praises I do not allow you to lean on because I do not want you to build your life upon the fragile breath of human approval. There are delays I permit, not to make you lose hope, but so that your roots may grow deeper into me. And when you begin to walk in obedience, you will recognize another kind of strength lifting you up. It is not the kind of strength that makes you proud, hardened, or cold. It is the strength that makes you peaceful, even when you are not yet understood, steady, even when you are not yet recognized, and gentle, even after you have been wounded. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. You will no longer need to prove yourself to every voice that passes through your life. You will no longer need to win every argument in order to know your worth. You will no longer allow one criticism to shake what I have already affirmed. For when you know you belong to me, the noise outside will no longer rule what is within you. I know there are words that once made you doubt yourself. There are glances that once caused you to shrink back. There are seasons when you walked forward carrying a burden in your heart, wondering whether you were good enough, strong enough, lovable enough, chosen enough. But my child, I did not call you because you are enough in yourself. I called you because I am the one who is sufficient within you. My grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. When you are weak and still cling to me, that is not failure. That is where my power begins to be revealed. When you cannot yet see the way, but still walk according to my word, that is not blindness, that is faith. When you no longer live to be applauded by everyone, but live to please me, that is when your soul is set free from invisible chains. So walk uprightly, not with the tension of someone trying to become perfect, but with the peace of one who knows they are being guided. Uprightness before me is not found only in the words you confess, but in the way you choose what is good when no one is watching, the way you keep your heart pure when you could become bitter, the way you speak the truth in love, and the way you continue to sow even when you have not yet seen the harvest. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until midday. Proverbs 4:18. You do not need to shine like someone else. You only need to be faithful to the light I have placed within you. A small lamp in my hand can still guide someone who is lost. A quiet life that belongs to me can still become a sign of hope for weary souls. Therefore, beloved child, do not ask the world to define success in my place. True success is not standing in the highest place, but standing in the right place where I have set you. It is not having everything others desire, but refusing to lose your soul while pursuing what is temporary. It is not being called by name before the crowd, but hearing me look upon you and say, "Well done, good and faithful servant," Matthew 25:23. Let that word become a lamp within your heart. Live today with gentleness, courage, and purity. Walk without fearing that you are small. For what is small, when placed in my hands, can bear fruit beyond all you ask or imagine. I am with you in every step. I lead you through every season. And as you keep turning toward me, your life will not be meaningless, lost, or forgotten. It will become a quiet, clear, enduring stream of light, flowing from my heart and touching this world with the love of heaven. Beloved child, perhaps in the days gone by, you quietly believed that light belonged only to spotless souls, to those who had never stumbled, never grown weak in heart, never carried hidden cracks within them. Perhaps you looked at your life, at the seasons when you lost your way, at the moments when you were afraid, at the times when you did not live according to what you knew was good, and said to yourself, "Perhaps that light is not meant for me." But today I speak to you with unchanging love. The light within you is not a medal reserved for the perfect. It is the mark of a child who belongs to me. I did not wait for you to become complete before placing light within your soul. When I called you, I had already planted in you a holy flame, a portion of inheritance from the Father's house, a quiet testimony that you were not born to be defined by darkness. As it is written, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." Ephesians 5:8. Do you see? The word does not say that you may touch the light only after you are no longer weak. It reminds you of your identity in me, so that from there, you may learn to walk in a manner worthy of what I have already placed within you. That light, my child, is not as fragile as human emotion. It does not blaze only when you are joyful and then go out when you are tired. It does not leave you on the day you feel small, nor does it shrink because of a judgment spoken from the mouth of another. There are mornings when you wake with a heart heavy as stone, nights when you pray and your tears seem to fall in silence, moments when you do not feel strong at all. But what you feel does not always tell the truth about what I have done within you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Darkness may surround you, but it has no right to possess you. Sorrow may pass through your soul, but it is not allowed to sit upon the throne of your heart. Doubt may whisper, but it cannot erase the mark I have engraved in you with everlasting love. Therefore, do not measure your light by one day of weakness. Measure it by the one who lit it. And I am the one who does not change. Remember the man who had been blind from birth, in the story where my only begotten son met him along the way. The people looked at him and saw only a question of fault, of cause, of worthiness or unworthiness. They asked, "Who sinned, that this man was born this way?" But my son did not see him as a problem to be condemned. He saw him as a place where the works of God would be revealed. Then he made mud, anointed the man's eyes, sent him to wash in the pool of Siloam. And when he returned, the eyes that had once been covered in darkness were able to see the light. John 9:1-7. Beloved child, that story is not only about physical eyes being opened. It tells you that I can place glory in the very place others once called a deficiency. I can use the very area where you once felt ashamed as the place where my light is revealed. What the world sees as limitation cannot prevent me from moving. What you once thought was evidence that you were not worthy enough, in my hands, can become a testimony that grace is stronger than every darkness. Therefore, Do not live as though you must manufacture light by your own strength. You do not need to force yourself to become radiant in a way that exhausts your soul. The light I placed within you is not a performance. It is life. It does not need you to strain in order to be noticed. It only needs you to remain in truth. When you live sincerely, instead of wearing a mask, that light begins to shine out. When you speak an honest word, even when it costs you, that light becomes clearer. When you choose forgiveness, not because the wound was small, but because you refuse to let darkness turn your heart into a prison, that light spreads farther than you know. When you do what is right in secret, with no one applauding, no one recognizing it, yet your heart remains turned toward me. That is when the lamp within you is burning with the oil of heaven. As it is written, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Matthew 5:14. You do not need to shout in order to prove that you carry light. A life lived truthfully in me already has its own fragrance, its own warmth, and its own illumination. There are times when you fear that if others knew everything you had gone through, they would no longer see the light within you. But I want you to understand this deeply. My light is not defiled by wounds that have been brought into my hands. An earthen vessel may be cracked, but if there is fire within it, those very cracks allow the light to shine through. We have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the surpassing power may belong to God and not to us. 2 Corinthians 4:7. You do not need to hide every mark of your journey in order to be used by me. I am not ashamed of the parts of you that you have brought to me in truth. I do not turn my face away from a soul that is learning to rise again. I do not require you to have a spotless past before you may step into a radiant future. I only invite you to let my light touch the deepest place, the place you once closed off because you were afraid of being seen. When you begin to live according to the nature I placed within you, you will realize that light does not always appear through great deeds. Sometimes it is a gentle word in a room filled with tension. Sometimes it is a holy silence when you could have answered with bitterness. Sometimes it is remaining faithful in a small thing, even when no one calls your name. Sometimes it is the smile you give to someone who thinks they have been forgotten, the prayer you lift for someone who never knew you interceded, the courage to say no to what would stain your soul. The fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. Ephesians 5:9. Therefore, do not despise small choices. Heaven often sows glory into hidden acts, and from them brings forth life before your eyes are even able to recognize it. I also know that you may be weary from having to distinguish between my call and the noise of the world. The world tells you that you must stand out to have value, that you must be perfect to be loved, that you must never stumble to be worthy of carrying light. But I do not teach you this way. I teach you to return to the truth. You belonged to me before you ever did anything for me. You were loved before you became strong. You were called before you understood the whole path. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. Jeremiah 31:3. From that love, you walk. From that love, you grow. From that love, the light within you is nourished, not by the pressure to prove yourself, but by union with the Father, not by the fear of being cast aside, but by the trust that my hand is still holding you. Therefore, beloved child, stop asking darkness for permission to shine. Stop waiting until you feel perfect enough before living in what I have spoken over you. Rise in humility, not arrogance, in truth, not pretense, in the peace of one who knows they have been called by the Father's name. Let your words become purer, your choices brighter, your steps more upright, not to purchase my love, but because you have already been covered by that love. And if there comes a day when your heart grows weak again, return to me, do not run away. I will not quench a smoldering wick, nor will I break a bruised reed. For my heart leans toward restoration, not destruction. You are a child of light. Walk as a child of light. Live truthfully. Love sincerely. Choose what is good in secret. And let my light within you become a gentle testimony that grace can turn an ordinary life into a place where heaven touches the earth. Beloved child, listen to me with a quiet heart, because there are things I do through your life that cannot be measured by human eyes, cannot be weighed by praise, and cannot be fully recorded by the numbers the world often uses to assign value. When you live according to what I have placed within you, your life begins to release a holy influence, not noisy, not showy, not needing to stand in the middle of a crowd to prove itself, but quietly touching the souls I place along your path. Perhaps you only speak a gentle word when someone is nearly collapsing. Perhaps you simply choose patience when someone else is burning with anger. Perhaps you are merely faithful in a small task no one sees. But in my kingdom, small things done by an upright heart are never small. As it is written, whoever refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. You do not need to make yourself resound when you are in me. My life will flow through you, and that stream will reach exactly the place that needs to be made new. Do not let your heart be trapped by the thought that what has value must be known by many people. Before me, some of the greatest victories take place in the secret place. A soul stops hating and begins to forgive. A person who was once cold now learns to pray. A heart that was once wounded dares to open again, to love. A footstep that once wandered far from the light turns back toward the way of life. These things may not appear before the crowd, but heaven knows. And I know. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:6. Therefore, do not be quick to become disappointed when your work has not yet been named, when your sacrifice has not yet been mentioned, when the seed you have sown has not yet blossomed before your eyes. I do not miss a single tear. I do not forget one intercession. I do not take lightly one day when you still choose faithfulness even though your heart is weary. What you carry will be revealed by me in the right season, not so early that it makes you proud, and not so late that it loses what I have promised. Remember Andrew, the disciple who is often not mentioned as much as Peter, James, or John. He did not stand in the most radiant position, nor was he always the one speaking great words. But he was the one who brought his brother Simon Peter to meet Christ. He first found his own brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," John 1:41. Do you see, my child? An action that seemed very quiet opened a stream of influence far beyond what human beings could imagine. Peter later became a powerful voice in the early church. But behind that turning point was someone who quietly brought his brother to the light. Beloved child, perhaps I have not called you to make everyone pay attention to you. Perhaps I have called you to become a bridge, so that another soul may encounter me, another heart may be awakened, and another person may step into their destiny. Do not look down on that hidden assignment, because in my hands, a sincere introduction, a helping hand, or a simple testimony can open an entire season of salvation. When you walk in the purpose I have ordained, you will gradually understand that greatness, in my eyes, is often nurtured very slowly. It is not like a firework that flashes and then fades, but like tree roots quietly growing deep into the earth, preparing for a long season of shade. Enduring things are rarely born from haste. I often train you in ordinary days, teaching you to be faithful when there is no witness, teaching you to keep your heart pure when the results have not yet come, teaching you to keep walking when the road is still unclear. Just as a grain of wheat must fall into the ground and remain hidden before it bears much fruit, Your life also has seasons when I hide you, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am making your roots stronger, your heart deeper, and your obedience purer. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. You only need to be faithful with today's portion. As for the harvest, the timing, and the reach of your influence, leave them in my hands. Therefore, do not measure yourself by the changing standards of human beings. Some measure value by fame, some by achievement, some by applause, and some by whether they stand in a visible place. But I measure by something deeper. Are you standing in the place where I have set you? Are you following my voice? Are your eyes still fixed on me amid the attractive crossroads of the world? My eyes are ever toward the Lord, for he will pluck my feet out of the net. Psalm 25:15. When your eyes are set on me, you will be kept from subtle traps, the trap of comparison, the trap of proving yourself, the trap of wanting recognition before the appointed time, and the trap of chasing what does not belong to your portion. Eyes fixed on me will keep your steps from wandering, and a heart anchored in me will help you hear the true call among countless false voices. Something wondrous will happen when you live in purpose. You will no longer have to strain to become right, because righteousness will begin to grow from within you like a clear stream. When your soul returns to its true source, your choices become brighter. The things that once distracted you gradually lose their attraction. The paths that once seemed appealing but did not bring life will reveal their emptiness on their own. If your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. When your vision is single, when your heart is not divided between me and the approval of the world, you will carry a holy clarity. You do not need to argue with every voice. You do not need to explain to everyone why you choose obedience. The peace within you will become the evidence. Your integrity will become the answer. And your presence, guided by me, will speak for itself that you belong to another source. I know there are times when you want to see results immediately, so you can be certain you are not walking the wrong path. You want to know whether your prayers have touched anyone, whether your kindness has truly changed anything, whether your faithfulness is bearing fruit. But my child, not every seed sprouts before the eyes of the one who sows it. There are words you speak today that may become a lamp in someone's memory many years from now. There are acts of love you perform and then forget. Yet the person who was touched carries them as a marker of resurrection. There are times when you choose not to answer with bitterness, and that very gentleness prevents another darkness from spreading. Let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Galatians 6:9. The harvest belongs to me, but today's faithfulness is the portion you offer before me as a pleasing sacrifice. Therefore, walk steadily. Beloved child, do not hurry because you fear being left behind. Do not remain still because you fear you are not yet great enough. Do not turn aside to another path simply because someone else's road appears more radiant. Walk truly. Walk purely. Walk with humility, yet without despising yourself. When you abide in me, I will do my part. I will open doors no one can shut. I will lift you up in the season of your weakness. I will place the right words in your mouth at the right time, and I will cause the light within you to touch places you could never reach on your own. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. You do not need to amplify yourself. I know how to let what I have placed within you spread to the right extent, to the right people, in the right season. So today, let your heart rest in my leading. Your life is not invisible before heaven. Your faithfulness does not fall to the ground as something meaningless. The things you do in love, in obedience, and with a heart turned toward me will be gathered by me and transformed into a holy stream of influence. You may never know fully how many people were encouraged because you kept standing, how many hearts were softened because you chose kindness, how many souls were reminded of the light because you did not surrender to darkness. But I know, and what I know is enough. Keep abiding, keep obeying, keep being faithful. Keep your eyes fixed on me. When you do your part in hiddenness, I will do my part in power. And at the appointed time, you will look back and understand that no step taken in my purpose was ever wasted. No season of faithfulness was ever small, and no life that belongs to me can fail to bring forth light for the world. Beloved child, I know obedience is not an easy path for a heart that has been wounded. I know there are times when you hold tightly to control, not because you want to rebel, but because you fear that if you let go, you will be led again into pain. There are wounds that taught you to protect yourself, disappointments that made you no longer dare to trust fully, and times when others acted in the name of love yet suffocated you, in the name of guidance yet caused your soul to shrink. So when I call you to let go, I do not take your fear lightly. I do not rebuke you for still trembling. I draw near to you as a patient father, placing my hand upon the places in your heart that still pull back. And I say, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Isaiah 41:10. I am not like those who wounded you. My leading does not suffocate your freedom. It heals the very thing that made you believe you had to imprison yourself in order to be safe. Understand this deeply. Obeying me does not mean losing yourself. Obeying me means returning to the true self I had in mind from the beginning, before fear named you, before wounds taught you to withdraw, before the judgments of others made you question your worth. When you bow your heart before me, I do not turn you into a lifeless shadow that merely follows without a heart. I restore you into a living soul, pure, light, able to love without being controlled by fear, able to stand firm without becoming hard, able to walk without carrying the burden of having to prove you are always right. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. When you surrender your way to me, you do not enter bondage. You enter the place where the Father's hand sets all things into holy order. There are times when you think that if you do not control everything, all things will fall apart. You think you must see every step ahead, guarantee every outcome, and predict every human response before you can have peace. But, my child, peace built upon your ability to control is always fragile. One unexpected thing is enough to unsettle your heart again. I want to give you a deeper peace, one that does not depend on how much you can hold, but is founded upon knowing it is holding you. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. Obedience is when you stop placing your soul upon the unstable table of anxiety and place it in my hands instead. Not because you understand everything, but because you trust that I do not deceive you. I do not lead you into destruction, and I do not abandon you halfway. Remember Abraham, when I called him to leave his familiar land and his father's house to go to the place I would show him. He did not hold a complete map in his hand. He did not know every turn of the journey beforehand. He did not see fully how the promise would be fulfilled. Yet he walked by faith. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. Beloved child, there are seasons when I call you in the same way. I do not explain everything first, and only then invite you to step. I invite you to trust the one who is calling. Abraham did not become smaller because he obeyed. His obedience opened a stream of blessing for many generations after him. This is the holy secret you must engrave deeply in your heart each time you obey me in the present. You may be opening the way for a grace that your children, those who come after you, and souls who have never met you will one day receive. Therefore, do not despise small acts of obedience. You often think obedience must be a great act, a decision that shakes an entire life, a step that everyone can recognize. But many times, obedience begins with a very small yes within the heart. It is when you do not answer with sharp words, even though you could win the argument. It is when you choose prayer instead of feeding suspicion. It is when you apologize, even though pride wants to defend itself. It is when you keep yourself from what you know would darken your soul. It is when you say, "Father, I trust you," even while the road ahead remains covered in mist. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. I do not measure your obedience by how grand it appears outwardly, but by the softness of your heart before my voice. I do not need you to be perfect before you follow me. If I only called those who were no longer weak, who could ever draw near, I call the one who is trembling, the one who is learning to trust again, the one who still carries tears in their prayers, the one who does not yet understand everything but still desires to walk uprightly before me. What I seek in you is not a performance of perfection, but willingness. When Samuel was still a child in the temple, he did not yet fully understand my voice. But in the end, he answered, "Speak, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. That was the beginning of a life being led. It was not complete understanding that opened the way for Samuel, but a heart willing to listen. So it is with you. You do not need to have every answer in order to obey. You only need to keep the ear of your heart close to me. And step by step, I will teach you to distinguish my voice from the voice of fear, the voice of wisdom from the voice of haste, and the voice of love from the voice of condemnation. There will be times when I teach you obedience through forgiveness, not because what others did was small, and not because your wound does not deserve to be acknowledged, but because I do not want anger to become a home within your heart. Forgiveness does not mean calling darkness light, nor does it mean allowing others to continue hurting you. Forgiveness means placing judgment back into my hands, so that your heart is no longer bound to the one who caused you pain. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. When you choose forgiveness and obedience, you do not become weaker, you are set free. You step out of the narrow room of bitterness and allow me to open the door for healing to enter. There will also be times when I teach you obedience through silence, when you are misunderstood, when slander touches your honor, when you want to rise up and explain everything to defend your image. I may gently speak, "Be still, and let me bear witness for you." This is not easy, because the self longs to be vindicated immediately. But there is a holy strength in the one who entrusts the truth to me. When my only begotten son was falsely accused, he did not allow every accusation to pull him away from his mission. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Isaiah 53:7. Not because he had no right to speak, but because he knew he was standing in the Father's will. Beloved child, there are battles you do not need to win with words. There are truths I will cause to shine at the appointed time, and when I do, no darkness will be able to cover them. Then you will realize that obedience is no longer the heavy yoke you once imagined it to be. When your heart understands that I accepted you before you accomplished anything, obedience will no longer arise from the fear of rejection, but from gratitude for having been loved. I do not teach you to live rightly in order to purchase my love. I teach you to live rightly because my love has become the good ground beneath your feet. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. From the place of being loved, you learn to obey. From the place of being accepted, you learn to change. From the place of being covered by grace, you learn to walk in holiness without becoming exhausted. Obedience then no longer feels like chains, but like wings, no longer like loss, but like the path that leads you into the deepest freedom. Therefore, beloved child, today I do not require you to understand the entire road. I only invite you to give me the next step. Begin with a small prayer within your heart. Father, I am willing to release what you are holding too tightly, willing to forgive where I am bringing healing, willing to be silent when wisdom requires stillness, willing to move when I open the door, willing to stop when I close the way. Remember, to obey is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 15:22. Because what I desire is not only what you offer from your hands, but that your heart would be placed completely in mine. When you obey, I restore wholeness within you. When you trust, I open new paths. And when you follow me in hidden things, I will cause your life to become a marker of grace, not only for you today, but also for the generations who will step into the light because of the faithfulness you chose in me. Beloved child, I see very clearly the hidden depths of your heart, where waters are flowing in opposite directions, where you both long to trust me completely and fear that if you let go, your heart will be wounded once again. I see you standing between two voices, one gently reminding you that I love you, that I have never left you, that my grace is still sufficient for you, but another whispering that perhaps this love is meant for someone else. Perhaps you have gone too far. Perhaps you are no longer worthy to be held in my arms. My child, do not be ashamed of that inner struggle. I do not turn my face away from you because you still doubt. I do not move away from you because you cannot yet believe with strength. It is precisely where you are most honest, where you no longer hide your trembling, that I draw near to you with tender mercy. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise Psalm 51:17. I do not need you to bring before me a polished prayer like a perfect song. I only need you to open a small crack in the door of your heart and say, Father, I am here. There are prayers that are only breaths, cries that sound only within the chest, tears that cannot become sentences. Yet, beloved child, I still understand. Before your lips can find the words, I have already heard what your soul is saying. Before you know what to ask for, my spirit has already lifted up your weakness with groanings too deep for words. As it is written, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. For we do not know what we should pray for as we ought. Romans 8:26. Therefore, do not think you must become strong before you may come near me. Come while you are still trembling. Come while you are still confused. Come when your faith is only as small as a mustard seed. Because I do not despise small beginnings. One truthful whisper can open the heavens. Because my love does not demand a performance. My love only waits for you to allow me to enter the place you have kept locked for far too long. When you sleep, I do not sleep. When your eyes are weary from long days of carrying burdens, my eyes still watch over you with unfailing faithfulness. When you no longer have the strength to understand yourself, I still understand every fragile movement within your heart. When you weep in silence, not one tear falls outside my knowledge. You have counted my wanderings, put my tears into your bottle. Psalm 56:8. Do you see? What you thought was invisible before the world is remembered in my heart. The emotions you fear are too small, too chaotic, too difficult to name. I do not take them lightly. I do not tell you to quickly move past them so you can become easier to handle. I sit with you in that place of pain, not as a distant God observing from above, but as the Father who comes very near, so your heart may know it is no longer alone. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, when she was driven into a place of loneliness, when the future before her seemed dry and the child in her arms seemed to have no hope left. She thought she had been forgotten in a land where no one would search for her. But I met her there. I opened her eyes to see the well of water that had already been prepared. And she called me the God who sees. Genesis 16:13. Beloved child, that story is a reminder for you today. There are wilderness places in your life that are not proof that I have left, but places where I will reveal that I still see. I see you when no one understands. I see you when you no longer know how to explain your pain. I see you even in the moment when you think you have become too small to be called by name, and in the place where you think there is only dry sand. I can open a well of living water. Do not look only at what has fallen from your hands. My child, I know there are losses that have carved deep places in your heart, closed doors that made you think the promise had closed with them, people who left and left behind the question of whether you are still worthy of love. But look at what remains. What time has not taken away. What the changing hearts of people have not destroyed. I am still here. My hand is never withdrawn from you. My call has never changed its tone because your heart grew weak. You are still called my child, not because you are always right, always steady, always bright, but because I am the Father who does not change. I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. Jeremiah 31:3. That love is not diminished by the days when you lose your way, nor is it increased by the days when you do well. It flows from my nature, and because I do not change, that love remains there, more steadfast than every fear within you. Perhaps you have grown used to a fragile kind of peace, the kind of peace that only appears when everything is going smoothly, when no one disappoints you, when plans unfold exactly as you desire. But the peace I give is not like what the world gives. The world gives and then takes back, promises and then changes, holds you with one hand but may let go at any time. But I say to you, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. John 14:27. My peace is not the absence of storms, but my presence in the middle of them. It does not require circumstances to be perfect before it can live within you. It grows from a reality deeper than every disturbance. I am with you. When the world changes, when human hearts are uncertain, when your emotions rise and fall, I remain who I am, still faithful to my word, still upholding you, still calling you by the tender name only a father's love can know. I am not a stranger to sorrow. I entered into human frailty. I knew hunger, weariness, misunderstanding, rejection, tears at the tomb of Lazarus, and loneliness in the Garden of Gethsemane. I do not stand outside your pain with cold power. I step into it with a love that has carried wounds. For we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses. Hebrews 4:15. Because I have known the fragility of human life, I do not treat you from a distance, because I understand. I sympathize. Because I sympathize, I heal. And when I intervene, I do not come to crush what is still weak within you, but to cherish, bind up, and restore it. As it is written, a bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. Beloved child, if you could see what I am preparing behind the curtain of the present moment, you would not tremble as much as you do now before the things you must release. You would understand that what I invite you to lay down is not meant to leave you empty, but to make your hands wide enough to receive what is truer, purer, and more alive. What you release for my sake, I do not forget. What you offer up through tears, I do not waste. What you entrust to me in weakness, I can turn into glory. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Ephesians 3:20. You do not need to see the whole structure in order to believe that I am still building. You only need to trust that the hand holding you is the same hand that did not withhold what was most precious for your sake. So today, let your heart rest in me. Do not try to fix yourself in panic. Do not force your heart to be strong when it needs to be held. Do not hide the struggle as though it causes you to lose your right to be. My child, bring it all to me, the faith that is still tender, the fear that has not yet dissolved, the wound that has not yet healed, the question that has not yet found an answer, even the parts within you that still doubt whether my love is truly meant for you. I will not leave. I will not blame you for needing time to trust again. I will remain there patient as the dawn, gentle as rain upon dry ground, faithful as an everlasting covenant. And little by little, you will realize that loss is not the final chapter. Tears are not the final voice. And darkness cannot write the conclusion over your life. I am still here. I still call you my child. I still hold you with unchanging love. And in my hands, even what you thought was broken can become the place where light begins to shine. Beloved child, I am gently training the eyes within you, so you will not seek me only in solemn places, in songs rising among the congregation, in special hours of prayer, or in signs that leave human hearts astonished. I want you to recognize me in the most ordinary breath of life, in the morning when you wake and are given one more day, in the sunlight resting quietly on the window frame, in the cup of water you drink when your throat is dry, in the moment you wash the dishes and your heart suddenly softens without knowing why. I am there, not loudly, not forcing you to notice, but present like breath, like the quiet life that sustains every small part of your day. In Him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. You do not need to wait until the sky opens to know that I am near. There are times when I come to you through a very small peace, through a clearer thought, through a sense of being upheld that you cannot explain by reason. That is not coincidence. My child, that is my hand touching you in the gentle language of everyday life. Perhaps you once thought that my presence must always be accompanied by something great, that there must be thunder within your heart, that there must be a clear event for you to be certain I have come near. But I want to teach you a deeper wisdom. Not everything sacred comes in a radiant form. Many times, I come like a thin breeze, like light slipping through the crack of a door, like a verse of scripture suddenly becoming warm before your eyes, like a peaceful step on an old road, like a sudden desire to do what is good rising within your heart. Remember Elijah when he stood on Mount Horeb. There was a great wind that tore through the mountains, an earthquake, and fire. But I was not in those violent sounds in the way he expected. Then came a gentle whisper, and it was in that tenderness that he recognized me. 1 Kings 19:11-12. Beloved child, I am also teaching you to hear that still, small voice. When the world around you is full of noise, when human hearts are hurried, when everything demands that you react quickly, I invite you to slow down enough to recognize this. I have not left the simple moments. I am still speaking. I often speak in gentleness. Therefore, do not despise the small movements within your soul. A morning when your heart suddenly feels lighter than yesterday is a sign of grace. A moment when you want to become angry but choose silence and wisdom is a tender shoot of maturity. A day when you read my word and one verse suddenly seems illuminated, warming again a place in your heart that had grown cold. That is the Holy Spirit reminding you that my word is still living and active. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. Do not wait for a miracle so great that everyone must see it before you call it my work. There are quieter miracles, a heart that was once heavy, now learning to breathe lightly. A mind that was once tangled, now being led into clarity. A soul that was once dry, now beginning to tremble before what is good. These things are not small in my eyes. They are the footprints of new life passing through you. I am teaching you to be faithful in recognizing, because the one who learns to recognize will learn gratitude. And the one who is grateful will not easily have their faith stolen by darkness. When you give thanks for a small thing, your heart opens like softened soil after the rain. When you say, Father, I see your grace in this moment, those very words become a doorway for grace to keep flowing in. Whatever you do, do it in the name of the Lord Jesus. Giving thanks to God the Father through him, Colossians 3:17. You can wash dishes in my presence. You can walk down the street in my presence. You can sit quietly in your room and know that I am there. I am not limited to the walls of a sanctuary. Though I love the place where my people gather, I also sanctify the dining table, the small kitchen, the familiar road, the repeated work, the ordinary minutes you thought held nothing significant. When your heart turns toward me, every place can become a meeting place. Remember Ruth, the foreign woman who quietly gleaned in the fields of Boaz. She did not step into a dazzling vision, did not stand before a crowd, and was not told beforehand that her life would become part of the lineage leading to the Savior. She was simply faithful in what was before her, loving her mother-in-law, walking in the path of righteousness, gathering each leftover stalk of grain with humble hands. But right in the middle of that small work, I arranged an encounter, opened the way for protection, restored her honor, and from her life, a great stream of blessing was born. Do you see? I often hide holy turning points in very ordinary tasks. What you are doing today with a pure heart may be the very ground I use to prepare a tomorrow you cannot yet see. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Your faithfulness in small things is not overlooked by heaven. It is the place where I lay the foundation for something greater. Do not let the slowness of the process make you think, I am not acting. Enduring things rarely grow in haste. Tree roots make no noise as they reach deep into the earth. Yet that very hiddenness enables the tree to stand firm when strong winds come. The seed does not understand the whole harvest, does not know exactly when the sprout will break through the soil, does not demand that the earth explain every stage. It simply remains, receives water, receives light, and trusts the life that has been placed within it. So it is with you. There are seasons when I do not cause you to bloom immediately, because I am making your roots deeper. There are days when you do not see much progress in yourself, yet you have become less reactive to fear, less doubtful of my love, less driven by unhealthy voices. That is evidence that your roots are growing deeper into grace. He will be like a tree planted by the waters, that sends out its roots by the stream. It shall not fear when heat comes. Jeremiah 17:8. When your roots are near me, the dry season will not determine you. And my child, I am the light your soul needs. Not the kind of light that dazzles your eyes and then abandons you in the night, but a steady, patient light that knows how to nurture life little by little. Every good emotion you feel after a heavy season, every wise decision that comes at the very moment you are about to take the wrong path, every moment you choose peace instead of panic, every time you desire to pray again though you had previously felt dry, all these are signs that I am working within you. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6. You do not have to perfect yourself by your own strength. I am working from within, not hurriedly but surely, not loudly but deeply, not by force but with power. Therefore, learn to bend down and gather the fragments of grace in your day. Give thanks when your heart becomes gentle. Give thanks when you have enough strength to do what is right. Give thanks when a verse of my word touches you. Give thanks when you realize that, in one small response, you are no longer the person you used to be. Gratitude will turn your eyes into eyes that can recognize my presence. It will cause ordinary things to shine with holy light. It will help you not to miss me simply because I come in such a gentle form. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His mercy endures forever. Psalm 107:1. When you live with gratitude, your faith no longer rests only on the great things I do, but begins to take root in the goodness of my very nature. So, beloved child, keep walking slowly but surely. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. Do not be discouraged because you have not yet seen fruit filling the branches. Do not doubt simply because your process is not as radiant as you once imagined. I am present in every small rhythm, in the breath of peace, in the softening of your heart, in the clarity that comes after prayer, in the gentle light that shines upon a right choice. You only need to remain with me. Open your heart to me, and trust that what I have planted will grow in its proper season. When the roots are deep enough, sweet fruit will come not too early, before you are ready, not too late, as though the promise has been forgotten, but at the exact time appointed by my wisdom. And when that day comes, you will look back at the small moments of today and understand that in the very places you thought were most ordinary, I was quietly building a life full of light, gratitude, steadiness, and pleasing to the Father. Beloved child, when you have not yet seen fruit on the branches, do not be quick to conclude that your roots have not grown. When you have not yet seen the door open, do not think your heart has not been transformed. Some of my deepest works do not begin with joyful shouts before the crowd, but with quietness in the secret place, where you choose not to answer with bitterness, even though your heart has been touched by pain, where you continue to pray even when your emotions feel dry, where you still keep your heart tender, though life has given you reasons to become hard. Spiritual maturity does not always wear the garment of radiant victory. Many times, it wears the garment of patience, perseverance, and a sigh that still turns toward me. Your Father who sees in secret, Matthew 6:6. And I want you to know that I have seen the times you remained silent, not because you were weak, but because you did not want to wound further. I have seen the times you forgave when no one knew, the times you chose what was right when no one acknowledged it, the times you still called my name in days when your soul had no beautiful words left to speak. That is not failure. That is roots spreading deeper. Do not confuse slowness with standing still. My child, a seed lying beneath the soil may look as though nothing is happening, but in the hidden darkness, life is making its way forward. It does not need the applause of the earth to know it is growing. It does not need the gaze of passers-by to prove that life is within it. It only needs to remain in the soil, receive water, receive light, and trust the appointed time. So it is with you. There are seasons when I do not rush to show you results, because I am making your roots deep enough so that when fruit comes, you will not be bent by the wind of pride, nor withered by the heat of testing. He will be like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, whose leaf does not wither. Psalm 1:3. I do not only want you to have fruit, I want you to have roots. For fruit may draw attention for a season, but roots keep you standing through many seasons. I once declared that the righteous shall live by faith. Hebrews 10:38. not by always feeling strong, not by success that is always visible, and not by the affirmation of others. To live by faith means that you keep walking even when you cannot yet see the whole road. Keep believing when the answer has not yet come, and keep choosing what is good on a repeated day that seems as though nothing has changed. Faith does not only appear when you stand on the mountaintop singing a song of victory. Faith also appears when you are in the valley and still say, "Father, I believe that you are good." There are days when your faith does not look like a great flame, but only like a glowing ember beneath the ashes. But I do not take that ember lightly. A smoldering wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. I know how to breathe life into what you thought was almost extinguished. I know how to preserve the small seed of your faith until the day it becomes a lamp that guides both you and others. You often think you must do something special, great, and radiant to prove that you truly belong to me. But I do not measure your life by the standards of a stage. I look at the place where motives are born. I look at the reason behind your actions, the sincerity behind your weak prayer, and the faithfulness behind the things no one praises. When you still live honestly, even though the world does not recognize it. When you still love, even though that love is not returned as you hoped. When you still pray, even though your heart is not full of inspiration. That is when your faith is going deeper than the surface. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. I do not ask how much you have done to impress others. I ask whether your heart is still turned toward me. I do not need a decorated faith that appears large. I desire a true faith, even if it is small, trembling, and still carrying tears, yet still refusing to let go of my hand. Remember the poor widow in the temple. She did not give much in the eyes of people. She only put in 2 small coins, so little compared with the great offerings of others. But my only begotten Son saw what others did not see, and said that she had given more than all the rest. Because she gave out of her poverty. Mark 12:41-44. Beloved child, that story is not only about money, it is about the heart. There are things you offer to me that seem small before the eyes of the world. A short prayer when you are tired. An act of kindness when your own heart also needs comfort. Forgiveness when the wound has not fully healed. A faithful choice when you could easily give up. But I see the holy weight of those things. People may only see 2 small coins. I see an entire heart placing itself into my hands. In the same way, I once used 5 loaves and 2 fish from an unnamed boy to feed a great crowd. That boy had no storehouse, no reputation, no power, only a small meal and a willing heart to give. When that small thing was placed in my hands, it was no longer limited by its original size. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were seated. John 6:11. Do you see? The miracle did not begin with abundance. It began with willingness. Therefore, do not wait until you are stronger, understand more, are more recognized, or have greater things in your hands before you begin to live by faith. Bring to me what you have now, a small kindness, a simple word of encouragement, the little strength you have left, a few drops of hope, an upright decision. Akiet, yes, in your hands. They may seem meager in my hands. They can become bread for the hungry soul. You do not know all the ripples your life creates. A gentle word you speak today may remain in someone's mind for an entire week. A look of compassion you give may remind a person that they have not been forgotten by the world. Your wise silence may prevent a wound from spreading further. An intercessory prayer in an empty room may become a stream of cool water for a soul that has grown dry. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. Proverbs 25:11. You may think you are simply living through an ordinary day, but in me, An ordinary day can contain touch points of heaven. True faith does not always appear like thunder, many times. It spreads like gentle ripples across the surface of a lake, quietly reaching distant shores you cannot see. Therefore, do not lose heart when you have not yet seen clear results. Do not say that you have not matured simply because you have not stood in a high place, have not been affirmed by others, or have not yet seen fruit filling the branches. I am rejoicing over your process, not because you have never been weak, but because you continue to return. I am pleased when you choose to believe one more time. I am pleased when you do not allow pain to turn you into a bitter person. I am pleased when you keep a teachable heart, a soul that still knows how to soften before my voice. Let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Galatians 6:9. The harvest will come, beloved child, but I do not want you to love only the harvest while despising the season of sowing. It is in the season of sowing that your faith is made real. It is in the season of waiting that your roots are made deep. Keep offering me the small things you have. Offer patience when your heart wants to hurry. Offer prayer when you do not know what to say, except my name. Offer forgiveness when I invite you to step out of the chains of anger. Offer faithfulness in the things no one sees. Offer the small light you still carry, and I will place it where darkness needs to be illuminated. You do not need to become a great torch in the eyes of the world in order to have value. One true ray of light can still save someone from collapsing in their night. One pure drop of water can still soothe dry ground. A sincere faith, even if small, can still please me. For without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews 11:6. Abide. Beloved child, keep going. The roots are growing deeper. The flowers are forming from within. And at the appointed season, what I have been nourishing in you will bloom in a way that is beautiful, fitting, and fragrant with my grace.